Hello, Rebel G-Man Division 4C. It is I, your recap of GMAN Milk, again with what was it, Lord Brainlord?
Lord Brainlord.
Yeah, Lord, yeah,
Brainlord to my friends.
yeah, I was defaulting to Dr. Hep again from last season. Whoops. There's so many times I've
Oh,
had to say here with Dr. Hep, and now you've upgraded to a Lord. You're
that's a
not,
lot. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
step up. You're moving up.
you don't have a PhD. You have a, you have a lordship. All right, yep. back
Hi,
into
everybody.
back into Blood Bowl, back into the real world. I have it together, I promise. Hi, it's Game Week 2, or Game Week 2 just gone. We're moving on to Game Week 3 now. I hope you've all had some fantastic games. Firstly, I want to say thanks to everyone who's giving like either feedback or just like saying thanks. We really appreciate it. We had 1 or 2 people on the old comments, 1 or 2 people on Reddit, send us stuff, or the Rebel Discord, that is. So we appreciate it. This all sounds kind of rushed and fast because I'm just going to want to get straight into things because we have a lot to cover in terms of like what has gone on in the last 2 game weeks. We ignored everyone's like games in the last week because we were doing it as like a pre-cap, but now we have 2 weeks to cover, so we're just going to get straight into it. So let's begin. For the first game week, we are going to start off with the Orc mirror match that we had. And I remember saying, Rorimbo's orcs are the better orcs, but technically they have more skills, they have this and that, they have more development. But G&M's massagers, God
Messages, massages. We
messages, yeah,
decided to
messages,
do messages.
yeah, messages.
We'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get it one time. It's a real mouthful. But we did say we kind of liked his team just because it was like nice and lean. It didn't mess about too much. It didn't have like stat bust or anything.
It's very neat, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was neat. And we've predicted it for Rorimbo though, and surprise, surprise, in a game that seems quite like fairly bloody, or fairly bloodless rather, apart from some KOs inflicted, an injury apiece, 4 armor breaks, 3 armor breaks, whatever. It
Pretty
did go,
gentle, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it did go 2-0 in the favor of the slightly underdeveloped orcs, the newer orcs. And yeah, that's stunning. That's something we did not predict. And do you think that, fair enough? It was kind of. I still stand by my prediction there. I still think Rorimbo's orcs probably had a bit more of a chance, but would you say the Nita orcs, maybe because of their like how concise they were and what they got in inducements, probably carried them?
That's true. Yeah, I didn't see this game sadly, but yeah, you got to think maybe if they are just keeping it lean, they can. I don't know. Did they induce anything? I can't tell from what I'm looking at.
Well,
But
I think that'd be like, because we have to account for like 2 game weeks. It was probably going to be like a 400, 500 inducement swing to the orcs at 1.
that's a healthy amount, isn't it?
Yeah, so one could predict. Yep, there's a fireball happened to Rorimbo. So
That's like it's 2-0. It's rare for orcs, isn't it, to be able to do that?
yeah, definitely. We didn't look into it, so we're not going to make many predictions. It could have been like a bribe and a wizard, but the wizards definitely probably did something to like either slow down the offense completely for the Rorimbo orcs, or just like completely they got sacked and the ball got lost and then they scored. That's what it's more likely to be like.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing too bad, I don't think, in terms of dice. But well, actually, here's something a bit mad. Poor old GM's messages. They
Let's call them massages. Let's go for that.
well, the thing's like it's I don't get it. I don't understand. Matter Sneak, if you're out there, tell us why. Because messengers is I don't know. I don't know. He rolled
It's a
5.
vaguely religious vibe. All these brothers are they spreading the word? Is that the idea?
I don't know, but it's like they should be messengers, not messages.
What's a messenger? Like MSN? Even that's a messenger, right?
Yeah, it's his messengers. I don't understand. Like, is this is team named just to annoy me? Because
Please write us a letter or send us an email.
Yeah, please do.
We need to know.
Otherwise, you're just gonna get called massages from now on. But he rolled 5 powers all game. I mean, he rolled a bunch of defender stumbles, which is okay. It's not a lot of like dodge usually on on one of them.
5 powers that's
5
bleak
powers
though,
is
isn't
him,
it?
yeah. And for him to win 2-0, that's a wow. Well, we were.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that wizard must have been pretty special.
Yeah, thoroughly outblocked. Terrible in terms of block dice. or I guess like okay if you could account for the defender stumbles. But all those defender stumbles could have been rolled against, for example, that one Blodge guy that the Rodenborgs have. So
Yeah, it's absorbing all of those.
yeah, so massive
He has
hats
the
off to
one tackle.
Rattlesnake there.
Yeah, I think it must have just been. Should have watched it. Now I feel like a fool.
Yeah, well, maybe next year, maybe next year. Our next game is the Duostuco Dragons versus Legion of Dead Metal. I think we both predicted Krebslam had a good chance here. He has a fantastic piece in his werewolf. He does have his killers online, and
And we do love him as a person as well.
yeah, lovely guy. And 18 armor breaks for the Necro do kind of speak a story. 6 KOs, 2 injuries inflicted, including a death on that half.
Yeah.
Considering the poor High Elves didn't have a bench to begin with, really, I don't think. Probably just smashed off the pitch, had no chance to really get their entire drive going. It doesn't help. It doesn't help that his dodges were 66%, and I mean some of those could be just 3+s that he kept having to make, or 4+s. But if those are 2+s, a majority of those are 2+s, then that's just shocking.
Especially you. He's got 3 tackle on Dead Metal as well, so that's really going to punish you for this sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
think as low sort of development elves, Necromantic I find it's a tough game.
It's horrible, yeah. I don't like playing Necromantic as any team really, unless you're just a team that just bulldozes them with Claw and Mighty Blow. But even then, High Elves definitely don't fare well against these guys, and Krebslam managed to leverage all of his advantages to just, I guess, smash them off the pitch.
I got a neat 1-0, yeah. I think he'll be very happy with it.
I would say so. It's a nice win on the board. But yeah, congratulations to Krebslam. Third game for game week 1 was Alligatorade, who did show up, thank God, versus Shergard Elf Storage. That is Carl Jaeger's Woodies. This speaks a very typical game of the Elves got the nonsense smashed out of them. But yet, they persisted and managed to make it a nice neat 2-2. 5 KOs and 2 injuries for the Lizards here. I think both coaches would be okay with this. Now, what have been in correspondence with Carl Jaeger, he gave us a lot of information about how his season beforehand and all this sort of stuff.
Did you say he had a rough season beforehand? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, what he said is his third season Rebel. First 2 seasons were okay. The first season he kept having lots of people dying. He finished 3rd in his GMAN with the season with most kills suffered, record 705. Second season 823.
That's good.
Yeah, so he's evidently a great coach. But he had so many deaths and perms, never had both war dancers, constant MNGs, playing games with 7 to 8 loners on the pitch. Horrible. Team's kind of depleted at that point. But in the first game this season, he said it went really badly. He had to play the entire game with almost no players and no war dancer. But he managed to draw. So that is a massive achievement there for the Wood Elves, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, that's got to be pretty impressive. He took a few injuries, didn't he? Only had the 1 war dancer for this game.
Yeah.
A lot of liners. Lost his lovely liner.
Yeah, evidently he lost one of those that 1 war dancer he had at some point in the game as well. So, grim tidings for the old Woodies. But despite all that, he got a draw. So you have to say, one to look out for.
Absolutely. And against Lizards as well, which is a team, as an elf coach, I struggle against those guys.
Yeah, well, I play as Underworld, and that's a dreaded matchup. You can play, you can have amazing dice, but still potentially only draw games. So yeah, I don't like playing against Lizards. So hats off to the old Woodies for managing that. The 4th game of the week was the Dusseldorf Rainfire versus the Alfheim Artists. This was the Dark Elf Mirror. And I think we briefly covered it last week, but, whatever. Just go over it again. It's very simple. Equals in blocks. Slightly more armor breaks for the Alfheim Artists. They inflicted more KOs, but it didn't really matter because they unfortunately were on the end of a 2-1 loss. Yep. Seems all fairly standard. Nothing too exciting. Nothing too crazy.
I think Dusseldorf had a wizard, which just sort of... That was the difference, basically.
Yeah.
When you got 2 teams quite close together, like an elf team like that. a wizard can be enough to get the extra touchdown or stop the opponent. I think that was really all
Absolutely.
that was in it.
Yeah, yeah. When you have a wizard, like when it's a dark elf mirror, it's like a wizard is sometimes just an automatic 2-1, unless the other dark elf coach has either something else to leverage or plays really well. Um, Usually elf matches, I find if it's like the faster moving elves, it's like whoever fails their first critical action is the one who loses, and then it becomes like a scoring fest in
Mm.
favor of the other elf. In this game, it was a lot more tight, and you expect to see that because of the average movement
Yeah, they
comparatively.
weren't definitely didn't go for a shootout or anything. It was quite a cagey game. I think
Yeah.
Alfheim are quite can see a lot of stalling. I think it was like a turn 6 or 7 sack on the ball with his incredible witch elf.
Yes.
But it didn't all work out, and yeah, so it wasn't the sort of crazy open game you can get.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, what games did you watch? What's the only game you watched of the
This is
first
of the
week?
first week. That's the only game I saw.
Okay, yeah.
Sadly,
Well, that's
it'll be
fine.
more interesting for day two. I've got I've got some opinions.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we'll get onto that as soon as we can. We'll just like breeze over these then. Um, our next game is Wolfbark's Mischief versus the Open Craft Beers. We also heard briefly from the coach of the Open Craft Beers, who says, thanks for the recap, guys. Learning as I go along.
You're
So
welcome.
yeah, he says like he's learning as he's going along. So hopefully that means he never takes the tackle only Beastman again.
Is he a new player like me? That's good. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, if he's like
Good
a new
attitude.
player, that's fair enough. I don't think I've explained why I hate that, which is just it's you know it doesn't do much.
That's yeah.
You'd rather take wrestle or something if you want to sack her from the get go, because it's like same odds of knocking something down, but at least you won't like kill yourself potentially, and you can also play both sides of the ball in offense and defense. If you take hits or give hits out, it's better for keeping survivability on those beastmen. But I digress. Very typical kind of Skaven versus Chaos game. A lot of armor breaks for the old Chaos, but just the agility is a bit too much for the Chaos to deal with. They didn't injure way too much. 3 injuries is okay.
I think he's probably used to that as a Skaven coach, aren't you? You can. He's got a fair bench, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of Skaven agility there. If I'm guessing some of those were 3+s, must have been. So 75% is not too terrible. In terms of block dice, pretty bad block dice for Wolfbark. It seems when he took his blocks, they kind of came up duds with 8 skulls compared to 3 pows.
3 powers is yeah, it's not incredible, is it? And a
Yeah,
lot of
no, you could
pushes.
could do better, could apply yourself better, but the block dice seem to be okay, generally fairly equal for the chaos. It seems like a very typical, very normal game. There's nothing too crazy to sort of point out, no wizard in play or anything. Going for it's a bit bad for the Wolfbark, but hey, 2-1 despite the sort of the average dice. Must have been a case of being outplayed. So congratulations there to Wolfbark.
Absolutely.
Also doesn't help the fact that he has a gut runner that blitzes on 4 strength.
That piece is. I just watched his other game, and yeah, that's an incredible piece.
That's insane. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what you want. That's the one piece you want, because like
2 heads and wrestle as well.
I mean, it's if you are doing, yeah, exactly, that's even that's even better. But like if you give someone like a Skaven coach an uphill dice for like when they have strip ball and wrestle and that, it's like 70% or whatever to produce a neutral or good result. So they'll be biting your hand off. But imagine if you get to pick the dice. It's insane. It's such a great piece, and I'm really excited I should watch more Wolfbark games, is what I'm saying.
Of course, yeah. We'll get onto it in a bit, but I think that might be his second game, might be my game of the week. So we'll get to that.
Brilliant. Okay.
He's got quite a team.
Yeah. We now move on to Calredian Crusaders versus Freya's Guard. This was a fairly simple prediction for us, which was the Nurgle didn't have a team. They had barely anyone on their team. And the decently killy side of the Norse seemed to have kicked into gear. 4 KOs inflicted, 6 injuries inflicted. Oh, mama.
Wowee.
Wow. Yeah, there's no chance of like... sometimes Norse have all of this and they don't do any damage, but you just punch them once and they start crumbling. It's just like, oh, well. So...
Yeah, it does not seem like that happened.
It seems that the Gnoll coach induced a chainsaw and was using it for either blitzing or fouling or whatever. Which
Yes.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, like, getting a fairly good chance to break armor is pretty decent, but that's not usually how I use a chainsaw. It's just something to shepherd the ball carrier. Grind for 8 turns, see if you can get the 1-0, and then see if you can, like, stop him scoring more than twice. That's probably what I would have done here.
It's
But then
be
again,
worth.
you want to talk about Bobbin's block dice.
Well, let's have a look.
16 skulls compared to 5 pounds.
Wow, yeah, that is grim, isn't it?
And it's not even like, oh, you had a lot of defender stumbles. He rolled what would have been like more turnover dice than like he rolled more scores than he did pals or defender stumbles combined.
Yeah, and the same for both downs. I guess both downs aren't so bad,
Yeah, he
but
has like 1 or 2
it's
block.
not good, is it?
No, it's not good. So let's I guess look at the dice again for. I guess dice are in the mind, by the way. Like who needs dice to win? But the Norse did a lot better on that front. It seems like he got thoroughly outburst, something to be expected, but then the dice didn't really help out. 6 injuries inflicted is grim. Hopefully those are regens
It's
or
horrific.
yeah.
I wonder if something, he only has 8 meters rushing, so I'm wondering if something did he lose the ball very fast in some horrific.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did something like through a 2 dice block. It was both down, reroll both down. It's just you don't get
Nothing you can do.
Yeah, I had
You
that.
did get a pass though.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's 1 SPP on the board. I had that recently in a game in another league where I'm playing like fresh Nurgle after my pro team died halfway through the season, so I mulliganed it. And it was just like there was a turn where I was going on my offense. I was like, I'm going to make this 2 dice block. Both down, into both down. Oh, well, you just don't get a turn then. Even after moving stuff, it was like I couldn't get anything safe, and then he just walked a 5 strength Chaos Warrior, punched me in the face, broke armor, stole the ball. There's nothing I could do.
Actually, yeah, you just have to let it happen, don't you? Which feels like that's probably what happened here.
Absolutely. And for the last game of Game Week 1, we had Thermonuclear Palm, Calcium's Chorfs versus Block You Like a Hurricane. We got word from Skylar then? His name's we got word that yes, this is a Scorpions reference, Block You Like a Hurricane. I got that. I guess I got the reference for that. But I just didn't know if the names were like related to the Scorpions.
I can't say I know the Scorpions well enough to
No. And I've also got I also noticed his stadium's Hanover, so I guess he is German. So we've answered all of our questions from the pre-cap. Yes, he is Central European. Yes.
It's why he has all these Klauses and Rudolphs.
Yeah, precisely. Calcium lost the blocker, very unfortunate, but hey, he was a rookie and before he got the MVP, so whatever. Calcium posted for some very nice words on our YouTube.
Oh, thank you very much.
And he also said, I diced the shit out of the Khemri, and considering he got 5 KOs, 6 injuries inflicted, and 2 of those were deaths. Yeah, he did smash the nonsense with, I guess, 1 claw mighty blow piece.
Almost everybody that wasn't a team guardian did not see out that game for the Khemri.
I did say, didn't I, like, if I guess he has claw mighty blows, so you could just dice the nonsense out of the Khemri, and he did. So,
and yeah, there it is.
So salute.
MVP on the dead guy is the one bad side, so it was a pretty nice game.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, that's when you smash someone that hard, you deserve that. It's just like an equalizer.
I think, yeah, it's only fair, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But that was Game Week 1. Now we can go into Game Week 2, which is 2 games that have played. We won't touch those yet. But we'll talk about what has happened. And we move firstly on to Rorimbo's Orcs, who played Wolfbark. And yeah, go ahead. Why do you think this was your game of your week?
It's like a ridiculous game. I'm not sure if it's like.
Well, firstly, 6 blocks succeeded from the. What? That's probably the lowest I've ever seen in like something that's not a concede win.
So yeah, well, basically, the Orcs start off with the ball, and Coach Wolfbark just goes with incredibly high pressure defense. He sacks the ball on turn 2, gets counter sacked, sacks it again on turn 3. But while this is happening, he's just getting smashed. I think by the end of turn 4, he has 5 rats on the pitch. They're all on the floor, and he just leaves them on the floor.
That's smart, yeah.
But the Orcs walk it through. They score on turn 8, but obviously he's got this chittering quick thing.
Yeah, he has a one-turner.
So he just one-turns quite easily.
Okay.
And then so you got the second half. It's 1-1. and he's got 8 rats I think for the second half, and he just runs away. He just like 3 or 4 times just running away, manages to sneak it through with a couple of gutter runners. But and then yeah, the Orcs have like I think 3 or 4 turns to score. He managed to sack the ball again. I think there were 6 sacks in this game. Really ridiculous. But the Orcs recover and get a lovely little 10-yard pass to tie up 2-2.
That is kind of brilliant that he got 6 blocks succeeded all game.
And like, half of them were sacks, I think, or maybe even 4 out of 6.
Yeah, I mean, we look at the block dice for Wolf Bark. It's 1 skull, 2 both downs, a pow, and a defender stumbles, and 8 pushes. It's like, wow. That is amazing.
Which the dice in general, I count these up. Row Rimbo rolls 48, and Wolf Bark rolled at 170.
It's my god, yeah. It's like, you know how you see those like really skewed, like, oh, there's zero armor breaks on the side of like an elf team. They make like 18 blocks, and the other guys get 50, and it's just like, oh, this is a typical elf versus bash matchup. Ha ha ha. This is like the most distilled version of that, where it's like,
yeah, it was so pure. Just one team just dodging around, the other team just smacking.
Orcs break armor half the time from half their blocks. And Wolfbark still win. It's like Jaws 2-2. That's amazing.
It was fully ridiculous. I think maybe Wolfbark could be a little. He had like rubbish KO rolls. Was it 3 successes, 10 failures?
Yeah.
Maybe he could have had like a slightly more sensible game with a couple more rats. But yeah, this is just great fun. Like you say, just super heavy bash versus ridiculous nonsense.
That's a really bad KO roll. My god. But I guess he'll be happy with the.
Yeah, he's still 2-2. It's pretty. If anything, the Orcs were a little bit lucky with that little pass at the end. He almost won it despite getting absolutely rinsed.
Yeah. I mean, if he won it, I would have been like, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
Who says that agility can't win in Rebel?
Not exactly. Me. This guy's out there proving it all by himself with about 3 rats.
We have a game now. Our next game is Block You Like a Hurricane, who were very unhappy with being diced to nonsense last game week and decided to like smash and pour lizards to pieces. You don't usually see this where lizards get outblocked. Like, they get 44 blocks succeeded. That's the Khemri team compared to the lizards' 23 blocks succeeded. 5 KOs inflicted, 3 injuries inflicted from the Khemri in a clear-cut 2-0.
I mean, the lizards were, if you look at their dodge dice, they're sort of, the amount of 1 in 9s they went through.
It also doesn't help that, like,
fairly rubbish.
It doesn't help that Khemri rolled 12 skulls and 25 pows, that kind of thing.
It's healthy dice, isn't it?
But then again, Navigator Raid rolled 4 skulls and 10 pows. I don't know. It just seems like the injury dice was like went to complete bobbins. Yeah, 51% dodges. Hopefully those were just like 5 pluses just, like, mixed in there. Where it was like, just try and get things away.
I think because it's all stunty stuff. It's a lot of 3 pluses, and they were just rubbish.
Yeah,
I would have been pretty upset. You got Croxigor got injured pretty early. So a couple of Sauruses were out, and just he's got a lot of the Khemri guy's got a lot of mighty blow.
Yeah, and his KOs were bad as well. Yeah, this is pretty clear cut, I would say.
And yeah, the Lizards had a chance, but it was on that strength 1 skink. He broke away, but obviously he just gets 3 diced and rinsed. But,
fire him!
Please
you need to fire him. Like, he leveled up after the last game, and rather than be like, it's you bye bye now, he was like, I'll give him sure feet to make him better scorer.
And like, he did run quite far, but yeah, unless you're gonna run the whole way, you're gonna get smashed.
Honestly, unless he's like adds 4 and like 9 movement, and he can just score like that, you just don't keep him.
It's hard to justify, isn't it? But yeah, the Lizards just got battered so hard the first half that they got battered really hard the second half as well.
Yeah. Well, poor Lizards.
I'd be a little bit upset, but Khemri were good, and they suffer with a MVP to Hack there, who got sent off for his very first foul, but he did get the MVP.
Well, that's why you don't use him to foul. I don't know. I wouldn't use him to foul. Just don't use him to foul. That's
Are you not a chainsaw fouler? Is that?
no, yeah. I
I've
mean,
never
like
induced a chainsaw.
there are certain ways, there are certain situations and times where fouling's good because it's just like trying to push an advantage or trying to get like some equity in a match by taking out something that's very high value potentially. But at the same time, like you get a good foul into the chainsaw, you're still having to roll a natural 10 for a casualty. I guess you could roll like an 8 for a KO if it's not stunty in that. But
Yeah, it's not a great chance, is it? When you put it like that,
yeah,
it
and
doesn't seem all that incredible.
I'd much rather have him just like, if you want to base my ball carrier by like breaking into my cage, then you have to take a chainsaw to the face potentially. That's how
Which
I
is
would use it.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
But this Crux has got MVP. He's got a level up. He's a nice one already.
he's MNG'd for the next game, which is the issue. So he
It'd be
won't
another
be
sad game.
he won't be kicking for the next game, which that'll be a big miss for him. Not only do I think the Lizards need all of their strength, but this Lizard team is quite beat up in certain respects. So
Who's he got next? Oh, he's got Wolfbark. That'll be fun.
That might be a. It could be a.
That's true. Yeah. If you only take 6 blocks, there'll probably be a good chance to recover.
He could be a recovery game. He does have like a tackle, for example, but at the same time, no prehensile tail's bad. He has a bunch of skinks, especially ones with like niggles and 1 R and like 1 strength. So
This one strength guy.
you actually might see Wolfbark outbash him massively.
That's true. Yeah, even Wolfbark can take out a strength 1 skink.
Yeah, precisely. And also, that Saka is insane. So we'll move on.
That'd be a one to watch. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
We'll move on to Calcium's game versus Diastuco Dragons, and yep, this is a theme of this last 2 game weeks of. Yeah, this is a Bash versus an Elf matchup where you go like, 15 armor breaks compared to 2 armor breaks. 15 blocks exceeded for the Diastuco Dragons versus 41. Wasn't a lot of murder. It was like 4 KOs inflicted and a death, so it's not massive, I guess. But let's look at the old KO rolls. That's the important thing.
We'll have to see.
KOs. Actually, okay. Yeah, they're okay. Yeah. But dodges are quite bad.
Again, yeah, poor dodging, which is not what you want to do against tackle.
And procced Loner 3 times, and he didn't like. And he
no avail.
Tried to re-roll it, yeah. So
I think that Loner was just one of the last guys left on the pitch.
Yeah.
He played a lot more of a conservative game compared to Wolfbark. He did the classic elf screen, and right at the end gets a wizard and actually stops the score. But he has a horrible. So he goes in 0-0, which he'd be pretty happy with because he's just tried to not get hurt. He goes into second half for like 9 elves.
Yeah.
And then the Chorf's kick, it falls right in the middle of the pitch on the front line of scrimmage guy. The Chorfs get a blitz.
Oh, right, yeah.
High elves turn 9, first action, snakes dodge.
Okay, well, yeah, that's just terrible. I mean, I do like the blitz. I do like blitz as a concept because it does keep certain people honest. But I think it should be like you only get to move, I guess, 3 players or whatever. I think that would be a much better way to deal with the blitz. But beyond that, that does suck. But I will say this: I like aggressive elfing. I'm much more of a ball hawk as an elf coach or a Skaven coach because I just think that it gets you more advantages even in these matchups. And there are things to be scared of on Calcium's team, but his team for a long while was just a Mighty Blow Claw guy who has 3 movement. So I felt like you could have probably pushed your advantage more. And like if he was like elf screening less and was trying to like patiently wait for the time to burst and just like knock things about, he could have had a catcher that was like more towards the other end of the pitch, or rather than just using the wizard to stop the score, he could have used it to like potentially steal it.
I guess he doesn't have a lot of skills. He doesn't have any wrestle or tackle, so he doesn't have a great ball sucker. So maybe he feels like he has to play this sort of. Like I said, I agree with you. I do see it as more negative.
Yeah.
I was gonna poo-poo it until you actually stopped it with the wizard, which I thought was pretty well done. But it's like I do. Yeah, I think you need to be more aggressive, but it is riskier. And when you're playing against Chaos Dwarves, I think often you go in just like, I just want this game to be finished and have no one die. I'm happy with
that's true. But like,
especially with a newer team, maybe you want that. But yeah,
I find that being the ball hawk, even if you don't have like a ton of skills, it might lead to a bit more of an elf like death spiral. But in this case, like these elves have already been in a spiral. They're already like dying. So rather than just be like, I'll let you have 1 hit a turn and hope you don't like cast stuff, and then I can't even win the game at that point. I'd rather just be like, you can take certain blocks, but it's harder and harder for you to take these blocks. The blocks you're going to be making are ones usually for like positioning rather than just mass murder. And like, yeah, that's just what I would
Yeah,
do.
make you roll more dice, make you do things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
And especially, yeah, although he doesn't have any good pieces, on the other hand, you can be riskier if all your pieces are rubbish and you don't care if they
Yeah,
die
yeah, you
anyway.
can't. Yeah, you don't pixel hug in that case, but it's a bit grim for poor old high elves that they are.
I think he'd be good. Yeah, I think they had a really good chance. If they had like a normal kickoff, that could have easily been 1-0 High Elves, and we would have been talking about what a great result for them.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it looks like some of those injuries they had were like self-inflicted. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
a lot of dodges not working out, and yeah.
yeah, and that he got one of his pieces killed, one of his blitzers killed, and one of his blitzers MGs. So he'll be really, really in a bad position.
Yeah, Blitz is some of the only guys that even have a skill on your team. It's a probably yeah. He's probably the saddest coach of the week.
Yeah.
That's an award that you'd want to.
Well, we'll make an award. You've won our I guess what would you call it? The first annual.
Yeah, the inaugural.
Yeah, the inaugural saddest coach of the week. And we mean sad as in upset rather than sad as in the other way you could say it.
Yeah, it's just justifiably disappointed.
Yeah, disappointed coach of the week. Yeah. But we'll move on now to another coach who'll be kind of disappointed. It was the Orcs, and that is Rattlesnake's Orcs versus Freya's Guard, the Norse team. Now, a lot of flippant opponents of Norse, or not opponents, but people who hate Norse, are like, Norse are a bad team because they can only like function by like kind of dicing your opponent. It's like when you in a high matchup, a high armor matchup where you're Bash versus I guess you're Bash, but you're the weaker end of Bash. You have to rely on like getting all those knockouts and KOs and that. But actually, I think this is more of a showcase of what Norse can do if they're played quite well, at least, because the frenzy and all that seems to have used very well, like getting more blocks, more chances at hitting things, and that combined with also Mighty Blow piling on, Claw, Mighty Blow, and all that, seems to have really equaled up a match that even when it's low TV Orcs versus higher TV Norse, I still find that like a 1500 Norse team can get beaten by a 1200 anything team just by being like, you lose a play on it on every blitz. But in this case, Rattlesnake, after doing what we didn't really expect last week, which was beat Rorimbo, unfortunately falls on a 1-0 to the Norse. Out KO'd, not out injured though, but let's look at the sort of, what's the words, KOs were just equal, going for it with bobbins.
Yeah, 50. I mean, this whole game was in a blizzard.
Oh right, okay.
Which really I think does not favour the Orcs. The Orcs, they have to do their GFH, and they are a slower team.
Yeah, that that explains it even more, which is amazing. So
I've written, this was not high art in my notes here. This was two teams that ran into each other. The North, the North do play well, like you say, and not that Coach Rattlesnake is bad. I think he's got a little bit less development, obviously, as we say.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He struggled. The North just kind of got on top and stayed on top.
Yeah, it seems very clear cut. Apart from that, though, so sometimes the armor doesn't break as much as you need it, and Orcs, because they don't have a great amount of responsiveness, like when they go down players, it's much worse for them than almost any other team apart from maybe dwarfs and chorfs and that. So when you go down that many players, it's like, okay, fair play, fair enough. And a lot of those KOs, it seems, were inflicted after the first drive, so there was no way for them to even come back. So they were just gone, and it just makes like a running in on turn 16 for the Norse much easier. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's not a whole lot to say about this game. This is but yeah, solid performance from the Norse, and yeah, maybe feel a little bit hard done by that you didn't get those armor breaks as the Orcs, but yeah, it's got to go one way or the other, hasn't it, with that sort of thing.
Very true. It's very true. We'll move on to our last game. We have to, unfortunately, skip Jopen's Craft Beers and Legion of Dead Metal because they haven't played yet. But we'll go to Carl Jaeger's game versus the Alfheim Artists. And I also, once again, have a update from Carl Jaeger. So
What's he got to say?
his week 2 game. I'm gonna read this out like word for word. Him doing my work for me again.
Do what you think his voice is like as well.
Oh God, yeah. Where it's either I can start doing it in like Joker's what's it called, John Wayne impression from, because he's obviously got a Full Metal Jacket theme thing, or I can just pretend to be German, auf Wiedersehen, Pet. I don't know which one to do. Is that
Both
maybe
sound like they have
German,
problems, but
a
I
German
think they're
John
fantastic.
Wayne?
That sounds
Hallo,
like what we should go
Pilgrim.
for.
Well, he says this. He says he starts offense. He scores fast. He steals the ball and then scores again. So I guess he goes 2-0 up in the first half. Second half, he wants to go for the draw. So he tries to go for like a fast pass over a catcher, but the catcher intercepts it.
Mm-hmm.
Then he rolls like 3 snakes in a row, like 3 snakes in 3 turns in a row. He couldn't get to that catcher and like get him free. He couldn't get the blocks, but he couldn't get the blodge stepper down. That's the issue, though. So until he's surrounded with 8 players, it finally got him down.
Yeah, I remember watching that. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
You've got to do what you've got to do sometimes.
Yeah, quite literally, yeah. It's just like, no, there's no way you can go. But then he 3-turned to score on turn 16, though. So, yeah, that explains the 3-1. Armor and injury, badly hurt to a witch who tries some difficult dodges. That's about it. So, yeah, that looks like there's no permanent injuries or anything, at least like inflicted. There was a casualty sustained for the Alfheim artists, but this is one of those perfect games, I guess, for the Wood Elves, where it's like you have a game to stave off of the inevitable elf death spiral, and it seems like Carl Jaeger's been it seems like Carl Jaeger's been going through the death spiral for like 3 seasons. So it's good that he had a game where nothing died or got hurt or seriously injured.
Not moving backwards for once is always, it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It is. So hats off to Carl Jaeger. Thanks again for, touching base and giving us and doing our work for us.
Exactly. Give us more to everybody. Write in, let us know what to say.
Yeah,
but I thought this was a good game. I thought it just my little notes. A great play from Carl. I thought you just played really well the whole game.
Well, I mean that explains is like as we've noted earlier in the show, his records that he like posted up. Those are good records. Especially for a team that's been constantly being hurt and like having to play with loners. So hats off to Carl Jaeger. Or I guess Stygian. It's like we either call him Stygian or Carl Jaeger. We'll call you Carl Jaeger because that's what we know you as your coach name. If you have a name that you'd be preferred to be called.
Right. Let us know, especially also if we're mispronouncing your names. You gotta let us know, or we'll just keep doing it.
Oh no, I'll just keep doing it. Well, like if you want to call me a name, I'll take whatever name you want me to be to call you, but I'll pronounce it in whatever you've written it down as. I'm not gonna.
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take note. But yeah, we'll move on now to just looking at the teams quickly. That was game week 2. We'll do our predictions at the end. Yeah, Krebslem's team I don't think got anything new. His Ghoul Shadowing is out. I can't remember if that was out from the beginning of whatever, or if that's just.
I think that must have just gone out again in the last game, which is a shame. It's my favourite piece in the division.
Yeah, it's my favourite piece in the division, but hey, I guess that is out partially because. I don't know.
Yeah, they're not going to like it, are they? Nobody wants that.
Yeah, definitely. If only had side stuff, I'd say.
Love those zombies. That's the dream zombie set, isn't it? Just one kick and.
You need a dirty player, but that's.
That's true. Yeah, you do want a day player. He's got a couple of guys who are close to that.
Yeah, we're looking now at Carl Jaeger's team. What's amazing for Carl is he has 220k in the bank, and he has
rare as a widow.
5, 8, 9 players. So he could buy 2 linesmen and
actually have a full team.
Yeah, crazy.
You wouldn't know what to do, would you? Yeah, that's crazy. I've got to say, Carl Jaeger is a coach after my own heart. He's got a rookie catcher. He goes into a game, scores 3 goals. There's all the SVPs on guys who are already level 6 and keeps the rookie catcher. I love doing this. I do this almost every game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I don't like having too many catchers, really, as the Woodies. But there's one thing I will say is that it's a great distraction. Because people will be like, oh, well, that's a 8 movement piece with 7
And
armor,
he'll
2
be wanting to
strength.
score on that guy,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can
And
hit that, and it's like, oh, turns
it's
out
all like it's
he's
only Goma Pile. So
yeah.
appropriate name for this guy.
Oh, I like this team's theme. I really do. But I don't think that I don't remember either Corn Knight the Cursed or Elvanendril in the movie. I guess
That's Alvin and it must have been maybe in the director's cut.
the
They
director's cut. Yeah, I think it might have been the Vietnamese prostitute. That was her name.
Oh yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's almost certainly correct.
yeah. Corn Knight was the pimp, the Vietnamese officer pimp.
Oh yeah, no Buku.
Soul brother. Yeah, okay, great team. I don't think that he really picked up anything because, as you say, he just scored on all of his already leveled
He's incredibly,
pieces.
extremely good players. That Lockhart, when do you see alignment that good?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the perfect. It's like
Yeah.
it's as I've said, either like a second war dancer almost, or just as that thing you have to do nonsense whenever you want. It's
You can't,
pretty
yeah,
perfect.
you can't be happy leaving that around anywhere if you're playing against him. It's a lovely team. I just
Yeah,
love to see it.
love to see it. You love to see it. We'll move on now to Rarimba's Orcs. Usually, okay, so everyone who wants to know, usually our process, or like my process is, I know who's gotten level ups from the beginning of the week, but I didn't do that because I was lazy again. And also, I like came in late last night after playing in tabletop. I was like tired. I went to bed and I woke up this morning. I was like, oh, I need to do work for this, and I did no work all day. I had to do other things, and I was like, 2 hours ago, I was like to Lord Brain Lord, do you want to record? And he was like, yeah, okay.
We've just gone and done it.
Yeah.
At least we're getting it done. But yeah, I'll actually track this stuff, but I've not been doing that either. But yeah,
we'll make sure to do it and carry each other next time. But I guess the things to point out is that his blitzers are moving ever closer to all being leveled up. He needs just 1 SPP on each. I think he might have picked up guard on the strength 4 piece, but I can't be sure. I can't remember. I don't care to remember.
Bad did get. He will because he got 6, or he got a lot of SVP that game. So I think he probably is. Oh, maybe not. He's got 25. Who can say?
Yeah.
We should probably know that sort of stuff. We should probably be the guys who can say
Well,
that.
I'm talking about Varagugzai.
Oh right.
Can't remember yet.
Oh no. I think he already had it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he's definitely going into game 2. He had it. Yeah.
Well, I don't think he had anything new, and like, I guess Rarimba, if you're watching this, correct us, but we'll make sure not to keep doing this. Or it's like we look at a team for that minute and go, is this new? No, I don't think it is. Okay.
Well, just next week we'll do the same thing.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything new on this team though. Yeah, I think that there could be an extra tackle on Gustav Klimt, but that might be about it.
They've had a rough start, these guys, but I still think it's a decent team. I think
it's healthy. Is that's the thing? It's like healthy.
It's healthy, and I think he's probably the most conservative of the Agi guys, which I think will probably actually do a little bit better against the Bash. I think he's got time to turn this around. I like the team. I like the guy.
It's solid. It's a solid team. It's healthy, and I don't mean like healthy in the sense of like when you're talking about a really ugly baby. You're like, oh, it's healthy.
At least he's healthy.
This one's actually good and healthy. So yeah.
Yeah, Frida Kahlo maybe wants tackle or something, but that's
Yeah.
She's almost excellent.
If she rolls a double, then you could do Mighty Blow or Juggernaut, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah, Juggernaut would not be bad actually. That's good for everything.
Yeah, it's good. It's
for sacking as well as the old frenzy.
Definitely. For sacking, it means that you can just say, if you've got like both down, oh, I'm not just standing next to a thing to get punched. Like, I get to have another go at least. Which is a bit of an issue in like, it won't really, it could be an issue in terms of, you'll never see it used against heavy guard teams. You might most like to push yourself into like uphill dice, but
that's true. Yeah.
Other matchups though, it might be okay. But yep, solid team.
Yeah, he's spreading the SPPs around. Almost going to get dodged on his last blitzer, and I think he's happy with the team, if not with the results at least.
Absolutely. We will now move on to Open Craft Beers. I believe he's now picked up another Blodge Warrior. A Blodge Warrior that is, because he now has a Mighty Blow, Block, Dodge Warrior.
Which is pretty fun.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, when he gets like stand firm and guard, he'll be fantastic. There's nothing new here. I'm sure he's like, I need these guard pieces just for like the season, so he's not going to fire them. That's fair enough. We still recommend
Yeah,
what we
get some
recommend.
new ones, I guess, and then cycle them out maybe if you can get away with it.
If Jacobus RPA gets like guard, you know, he levels up next game, he gets guard, I would consider getting rid of Mui Nell. But that's just
Yeah,
me. Yeah, that's just
I
what
think
I
I'd
say.
agree. Yeah, trim it down, get it nice and lean and neat. We'll have a neat team here.
Yeah, and Chaos are a team who needs to be kind of neat. I mean, you have to accept the bloat to an extent, but you don't want to like have a bloaty team that also doesn't perform, because even an elf can punch it into a death quite easy.
Yeah, don't want weak spots, basically, do you?
Yeah, definitely. We'll now move on to the Norse. Their shadowing guy has lost an edge, so that's P.
That's not so hard, is it? That's now not the greatest piece in the world.
No, I mean, it wasn't a great piece to begin with.
That's probably true, isn't it?
I mean, like, if that piece was like a double for diving tackle, then like I guess he's like pretty good
Yeah.
still. But you know, you might as well just fire him still. He might I guess he is like one of your only tackle, so you'll keep him around.
That's true, yeah. Only got 2 tackle on the team.
But at the same time, Frenzy is just poor man's tackle, so do you really need it?
Yeah, no shortage of that. Still a pretty nice team, isn't it? You've got your 3 or 4 key players, and everyone else just helps out.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, there's nothing. Yep, this hasn't changed too much. Pretty good. Yeah, let's now look at our favourite team, which is the Lisbon team with all the weird.
Hell yes.
Yes.
Let's see how those skinks are doing.
Yep.
Still there.
Still a niggled move up guy. I mean, I've been thinking about it. I guess like the move up guy with the catch, you could just keep him on the pitch for one turners.
Yeah, there's definitely a place for him, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with that now. I've like had some time to think about it. The strength 1 skink should die. It shouldn't be around. It's if you cut him, you're cutting 70 TV, which is pretty good anyway. But also,
healthy, yeah.
he's not effective. It's not like you're paying 70k more for a piece that's ultra effective. Like you might go, oh well, he has blocks. That means it's harder to break him down. But like we know how we can just roll on Noblars like with tackle and.
Yeah, I think everyone 3-dicing you kind of removes the benefit of block there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I mean, maybe Darkest Soul could be like, well, I'm waiting for like. The only way that this skink can like go out is the proper way, which is he gets punched by a human linesman with no skills on him into a pow, into a death, and it's like you've served your purpose.
It's not going to. Yeah, I do think there is an argument for he'll kill himself if I keep him around, especially if you keep picking up the ball.
Yeah, like I don't know, I don't really like it still, but to each his own.
I love it.
It's to each his own. I guess it's a fun piece, so it's like, why are we trying to get rid of it?
Yeah, we can't. Don't hate that Croxagore, which just picked up Stand Firm there. That's a really nice guy, isn't it?
You can get either grab or break tackle. Probably break tackle for me next, and he'll be complete.
You'd be very happy with it.
Yeah, it's nothing really new apart from the sprint on the skink with the one strength.
And the Stand Firm, I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
He didn't have a great game for a SPP.
Yeah, he got absolutely just knocked the nonsense out of, so poor guy. But yeah, let's look at Calcium's team. I think he got 1 level up, which is the guard. I know that for a fact. Otherwise, he got nothing. He's nothing else.
He's still sitting around with all the day player squadron, which we love to see.
Yeah, I mean, like that Ball Centaur is very close. Yes, I'm fantastic. Most likely a tribute to GMAN's best team in the game, best team in the league, Jimmy Fantastic's Chaos.
Yes, with his 7 strength 4 guys.
Yeah, that's a tribute, but that one's very close. So one assumes maybe that that was the piece. I thought it was like the Claw Might Blow piece knocking the nonsense out of things, but maybe it was that piece. I don't know. But
everyone got a fair chance to hit some L's in that game, I think.
Yeah, because it doesn't look like someone has exploded too much in SPP. There's no like, oh, this guy's an extra level now. It's just like there's a few pieces quite close to the cusp of leveling up.
Which is nice, it's all going to keep everyone keeping it even, which I think you want with a team like this, right?
Yeah, and he's posted 2 wins thus far. Calcium's showing his like coaching ability. Yep, exactly. Yep. Okay, team. We're still underwhelming, isn't it? It's still underwhelming, but it's like gets the
Yeah,
job done.
I mean, cast dwarf teams. They're much of a muchness, aren't they? Sometimes you get a weird bull centaur or a weird hobgoblin, but basically,
They're just functional is the key thing, I think.
yeah, very functional. If you're a
Yeah.
good coach, you can make them do things.
Yeah. Okay, hold up. Firstly, we're moving on now to block you like a hurricane. And on my end, it's not telling me what this Tomb Guardian that appears to be grayed out has in terms of an injury.
Yeah. Oh, he's when I click it, he's got the little plus on the
Yeah, but he
little
can.
card, but
Yeah,
not on when you click through.
that's bizarre. Maybe I.
So I don't think he got injured.
Okay, that's weird. It could be an MG.
That's a
It could be a
mystery.
Niggle.
Is that a weird thing to do with decay? Maybe does that show up weirdly? Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, despite getting the nonsense like kicked out of him, there's a lot. I think there's a lot more of these like skeleton name two. You know, there's like a lot of IIs around. So
He did lose a lot of guys in the first game, but he's kept a healthy bank balance. So
healthy bank balance and
one
like
in, one out.
most of his other pieces are healthy. Like his main core is healthy, so
He's still
that's
got
a
all that
nice.
mighty blow to
Yeah.
run around with.
Nothing. I think he got piling on that blitz draw, which is good. But
Be
that's
happy with it. Yeah, nothing fancy, but looking healthy.
yeah, looking healthy. Yep, pretty good. And yes, we do get the theme. We get the theme now.
We believe you.
Yeah. So the high elf team, which is like not really a team, it's just a collection of bodies. Yeah.
Not even that many bodies.
His team for the next game week has a thrower, 3 catchers, and 3 linesmen. And no blitzers. He'll be able to buy another blitz for next game, which is okay.
That's true, yeah. Health, get above 1,000 TV. It'd be nice.
Yeah, so game 4 he'll have all his blitzers back most likely. Okay. But yeah, this is not. There's not much to say.
Yeah, was that Niggle? Was that picked up on because Milakito was he was out of the second game.
That was
You
picked
pick up that
up.
Niggle, that's sad because that could be a good piece.
Yeah. I think I mentioned like you should probably fire that, but like, you could get blodge really quickly, and then it doesn't matter. 4 strength blodge is hard to bring down anyway.
It's on the cusp, isn't it? It'd be so hard to fire a strength 4 guy, wouldn't it? I'm not sure I can make myself
Because
do
you can
it.
also become like a sacker as well, give him wrestle, and like, oh well, you just need him for the 1 sack. He'd be like a bit like a Eldril Sidewinder in a case where it's just like, doesn't matter if he dies immediately as long as he does his 1 job.
Yeah, do your 1 job and you're happy. And Popov's looking okay, but it's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 block going into the next game.
The one thing I will say is that Ricky didn't do his level ups, and that annoys me. Do your level ups.
It's mean. I'm guessing we're going to get dodge on the catcher, and that blitzer. Who knows? Who knows what happens? Probably side stuff, I guess, but
tackle could work as well.
Could be tackle, and he could have rolled a double here, or who knows what.
Yeah. We'll now move on to Cal Radiant Crusaders. Not much to say on this team. I don't think it's changed at all. I think these pieces were already out, maybe. Yeah, they're just MNG. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, looks much like it did before.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about this. Sorry, we're not gonna cover that.
Like a Spartan team.
Yeah, we're not gonna cover that. Did Wolfbark get anything?
He must have got something. Although, yeah, he put it all on. Yeah, I don't think there's much new here apart from some injuries.
What sucks is all these like 5 SPPs and like 4 SPPs from linesmen.
That's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, that just sucks. I mean, he's very close to getting to either like rolling another POM piece or getting a chance for doubles and lucky. And Crystal Hunter 2 will be getting something very soon, but that's about it. Yeah, this is much the same. Same as it ever was.
Yeah, still keeping this playing for fun. With this 0 SPP armor 6 guy. He did sack the ball last game, so he's not completely useless. But
yeah, I mean, like playing for fun is playing for fun. I mean, I'm sure that now Wolfbark is like looking at that guy and his name's like, this is very ironic. I'm gonna keep him. It's like you go into CCL and you like people who are called playing for fun players are the ones who like will have a team just full of like dead players. There's one guy I saw who had like. There's 2 insane CCL pieces I've ever seen. One was a double niggled, double move bust, edge busted, I think. Blodge, guard, Amazon Lino. So she moved out as fast as like an black orc on the first block of the game. She instantly dies.
This is a great piece.
I know, like I was surprised I was the one to kill it because it was so. It must have been around there for about. It was a 30-game Amazon team,
Oh, wow.
and it
Going
survived that
cast
long.
every game.
Yeah, definitely horrific. And the second piece was someone was having a like a move up, edge up, beastman, but he'd also taken 2 stat
Interesting.
busts that were move down and edge down. So he was just carrying a piece that was like a block beastman, but for an extra 70k, yeah, like a 200k piece for no reason. But yeah, playing for fun
Love to see it.
is probably a fire, I would say.
Yeah, I guess he hasn't got that much money. He's probably gonna. Maybe he might even do that before his next game.
I mean, to be honest, Wolfbark could be of the mind where it's like, I just want to keep adding to my bench, and if they die, they die. It's just to make sure that chittering quick thing never takes the pitch.
Yeah, that's actually. Yeah, I think that's really not a bad. Yeah, because his strategy is this super high intensity stuff.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
churns through rats. You are just wanting people that are there to get in the way.
Yeah,
And maybe just buy one more and keep at it.
yeah, it doesn't matter like there's a niggle on one of them or like 2 of them are move bust. Like they're only there in the middle of the pitch or whatever. It's like where do they need to go? To be honest. So yeah, Wolfbark's team hasn't really grown, but it's got an interesting question, which is, do you fire or do you buy more? You just meat grinder them.
We'll look forward to seeing what happens.
Definitely. We'll now move on to Dusseldorf Rain Fire. I think he got a Mighty Blow Blitzer. Is that new? I can't remember.
How you fan been? He hasn't played his game yet. He's one of these two, so.
Oh, he played last. Yeah.
He's played his first, but not his match.
Oh yeah, no, we've already covered this team, didn't we? Like last
So
week.
it looks the same as it did
Yeah,
before.
oh, yeah, we should ignore it then. Go away. We don't care.
Go away.
Go away. In terms of Rattlesnake, I think he got a block linesman. I think that's it. I don't think there's anything new here.
Yeah, it's still the super neat team we know and love.
Yeah. Well, cool. great job.
Cool.
Everything else is admin team, like so. Yeah, those are the teams for the game week. I guess just gone. We'll now move on to a quick fire predictions. Firstly, Dusseldorf Rainfire versus Rorimbo Orcs. A lot of TV in terms of inducements for the Dusseldorf Rainfire. What were they like? Oh no, I'm lying completely. They get like 100k.
You forget maybe an Apo against this team.
Yeah, they'll get like an Apo or a bribe or something.
A couple of babes, yeah. Nothing
honestly,
too
this team doesn't feel like it should be 1650. But I guess
it's the one Dark Elves are like that, aren't they?
It's the bench, I think, and like he's bought like all the positionals he wants. So he has like both the Witch Elves. Because he hasn't played his game yet, and he could be in the middle of playing his game. Who knows? Maybe half his team will die, and he will get endorsements.
We don't know yet.
We don't know. But in terms of predictions, it's more efficient. I think this Dark Elf team I could predict a 2-1. Possibly.
You think?
Yeah, it's just more efficient, and like, it's not like Rorimbo is mass guard, mass mighty blow at this point. He's just got like 1 or 2 star players here and there, so I definitely think you could topple this team.
I mean, yeah, that's probably fair. I've liked the look of this Dark Elf team. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'm going to agree with you here, as boring as it is.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes you're just right. Sometimes you're right.
Yeah, you can't argue with it.
We'll go on to the Alligator Raid versus Wolfbark as our second game. I think both of us would be leaning towards Wolfbark here. Because
I feel like it's going to be hard for Wolfbark not to score at least 2 touchdowns in every game.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
you can't sort of factor that in.
It's like the 2 turner is not only like the 1 turner rather is like always there, but in addition, it's not like how a Chaos team or another Bash team can get all their 3 strength and guard just like hemmed up in a big tight box, and you know he has no chance of getting in there. If he lets like, because he can run around his like back flanks and like completely circumvent all of his lizards and just get into the skinks, it'll be hard to imagine, especially this kind of beaten up lizard team being able to do too much to shield. They don't have any guard. They don't really have any real means to like stop the Skaven from running rampant. If they get pulled out of position way too much, they'll just be giving up more and more hits on their skinks. So I really do think like the sack will be amazing here.
strength 4 against that strength 1 skink. Yeah. I think this could be 3-0 or something. This could be brutal for the
Yeah,
lizards.
absolutely. The Lizards have one kind of like good thing, I guess, which is they do have a tackle piece, but that's about it. Yeah.
I think got the diving tackle skink as well. That might get something. He does dodge a lot with his 3+ dodges and fails a lot. So there's opportunities to get some removals there if you're lucky.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm sure I still predict Wolfbark is probably gonna win this. I would say.
I would definitely say so. He looks very strong.
Yeah. Our next game is going to be between two of the most gimped teams in the game. Stuco Dragons versus Caradian Crusaders.
There's probably about 3 skills on the pitch in this game.
Yeah, this is just like, have we moved into a rookie division? Because,
Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? Quite honestly, it's probably going to go the High Elves' way. Nurgle aren't that responsive. The things that at least this team has in terms of the High Elves is speed. They do have like 8 movement.
They have. You got disturbing presence, but I guess if you're fast enough, you can work around that. Just don't do your throws.
Yeah, you just don't throw.
Keep it on the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
precisely. And like, even if you wanted to carry for a bit on the 4 strength piece, yeah, he can get like the pestigores in and get 2 dice quite easy. But if you outposition him, and there's also a lot of potentials for like 1 and 9 to be thrown from the
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it could be a sticky turn, but I think most likely probably 2 onto the High Elves.
Yeah, I would predict that as well. We're kind of being boring here and just agreeing because I think it's quite clear cut for a lot of.
We're getting a bit. Yeah, some of these matches are quite.
Yeah,
they feel stark. Yeah,
definitely.
But this one though, yeah.
This game, because both teams are a bit like bashed up, it can go either way, which I think is fun.
It could be a fun game to watch. It could be very silly, which I like to see.
Our next game, GMAN Messengers, Rattlesnakes Orcs versus Block You Like a Hurricane. In my opinion, this could very much go the way of the Khemri, actually, because the Khemri have a decent amount of guard, decent amount of mighty blow, and also 5 strength.
But yeah, this neat Orc team, we love this team, but I think, this Khemri team, they're brutal. They're just going to steamroll, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to do. Yeah, the Orcs haven't got anything in the locker to do. They've just got to go and take it, haven't they, really?
The best thing they can do is like just snipe all of the skeletons, but that's about. Does that work?
Probably got to be your move, hasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, the toughest thing in the world to break are goblins and skeletons, because you might think, oh, there's 7 armor, but no, they just don't break. And when they do break, the skeletons do at least have thick skull. So
they've got thick skull and regen, so they'll be straight back. Yeah.
With no real like piling on options as well. But you do have a nudge up piece for the orcs, so who knows?
They've got a shout as or ever, but I think it's hard. It's going to be hard to stand up to this onslaught of mighty blow hits.
I would say so. It's also another like quite low TV game. Block You Like a Hurricane right now stands at 1380, while the orcs stand at 1290. So we could see a bribe. We could see.
I wouldn't hate to see a bribe.
Yeah.
Foul out that pump piece could turn the tide, but I'm going to say that's a 1-0 Khemri, a nice low scorer.
Yeah, that's my prediction as well. It could be swingy in terms of injuries, or it could just be control all the way. You don't know. Our next game will be now Legion of Dead Metal versus Thermonuclear Pom, which is Crepulum versus Calcium. 2 good coaches.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and here's my prediction. Probably a necromantic win. Because, you have the Insane Wolf, and that's just like a game winner. But also, there's a lot of things for Calcium to chew through. He only really has 1 or 2 like threats in terms of casualties. I think he's even out-strength and out-guarded, so.
He's not really got all his killers online, has he? I think, I think you're swaying me here. And they say the werewolves, they can go through the Chaos Dwarves even easier than they can go back, can't you? So.
Yeah, definitely. So I could definitely see.
We'll back our boy.
Yeah, we're going to back Crepulum. I think Calcium could have, a fair shake of things. He has been pretty good at, like, smashing the nonsense out of coaches anyway. But he has to kind of high roll again, I think, he has to high roll consistently in this game week to get all the results he needs. He can definitely be kind of pressured and stand firm on the flesh golems, and all this sort of stuff just contributes to a 2-1
Could end up
probably.
bullying him.
A 2-1 or 1-0, I would say, for the Necromantic.
Yeah, he's only actually 100 TV difference, isn't there? Which is surprising. But
Yeah, it's
means
pretty.
you can't get much.
It's as we've mentioned, Crepslim is
Keeping it lean with those zombies.
yeah, precisely. He has stuff on all the things he needs.
If anything,
Which
you're actually kind of probably glad that Ghoul is out for this game.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah, it's efficient use of TV.
there's one or two things to like point out, which is like there are 3 tackle on this team for the Necromantics, and none of that matters. You know, tackle.
That's true.
The added tackle are dead
60
skills,
quid in the
and
bin.
Also with no claw, mighty blow for the Necromantic. At least that's something for that's something that Calcium would be happy with. But also claw could do a thing. You never know.
Yeah, you got Claw and Mighty Blow distributed, not linked up, but they're around.
Yeah, it could be kind of grim for Calcium. But then again, he does have an amazing fouling game, even if it doesn't work so well for this matchup. So who knows? He could immediately knock down a werewolf, stomp it dead into dead. So.
And then that looks like it's a very different game.
Yeah. So I'm still gonna predict Krebslim though. I think it's pretty clear for me. But
yeah, we could very well get it wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Prove us wrong, Calcium. Prove us wrong.
We're just playing the numbers here, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, probability. That kind of thing. No. Yeah, we do take into account coach skill as well, but this is definitely a game where it's like, even with Calcium's skill, Krebslim is also a skilled coach, but also just has like the much better team. So.
Yeah, there's no denying it, is there?
Yeah. Our next game. So how you mentioned the Wood Elves like a very nice game to stave off like the Death Spiral in terms of their game against another elf team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is like the worst game you could probably face. I mean, there are things that are positives for Carl Jaeger. He has
one tackle.
He has 2 mighty blow. Yeah, I mean 1 tackle, but he also has 2 mighty blow, or 3 mighty blow actually, because he also can include a tree.
Got the tree, yeah.
So you can just dice the shite out of the Norse, to be honest. That can be a thing.
He's got a lot of dodge. He's got a chance of managing to get away with it.
But there are also some massive negatives. One, you have a piece with 5 strength, so like you could even see, for example, Glordion being like, "I'm gonna carry on that," and then what are you gonna do? Just uphill dice.
Or I'm gonna hit the tree down with this as well.
Yeah, that's even worse. He has 2 online berserkers. Even if one doesn't have like block, not block. I mean, one doesn't have tackle.
So they got the frenzy, as you say.
Yeah, poor man's tackle, and also the Yeti has claw, mighty blow, so he could put down the tree. He could like.
I think this tree could be under real pressure this game. I think.
The good thing is the tree does have block, so at least he will also bring out 1 of 9s and that kind of thing.
But the Wood Elves have more guard.
Yeah, but it's on the wrong pieces for the most part.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, like the issue with guard, like guard's good on a Wood Elf team. It's good having those pieces to go around for just to, like help you burst through somewhere that you wouldn't have been able to go through before.
But yeah, you can't post them up on the line though, can you? Well, I mean, you can, but
it wouldn't be a wise idea. Yeah,
It's
definitely like these things scream like these catches are there for like I need to go down the side in 2 turns rather than 1 dice my way through. I can 2 dice pretty much. Or even like if what's his name? Even if Glordion posts the elf runners on the sides and like on a traditional what we call it chevron defense, with the 4 strength in the guard, you can just punch through on 2 dice, even 1 dice if you push for it. So it's worth pointing out though that the Norse do get a wizard. Doesn't really matter against a Wood Elf team because they can just score in 2 turns and then you never find a way to use that wizard. I find.
They can move the ball too far, can't they?
Yeah, but this is an interesting game, which I don't think there's a very clear-cut answer. Both teams are armor 7. One has a much clearer bash advantage, the other one has a much clearer edge advantage, but both teams have mighty blow, so they can both swing the game whichever way they want. The piling on both teams could really push some amazing results.
He's not scared to pile on with that war dancer.
The only issue, of course, for Carl is that he'll probably find himself very few situations where he can pile on safely, while Glordion can pile on with impunity because he probably won't be fouled. So
I think so. I still feel like I want to back the Wood Elves here, but maybe that's just because I love elves. But...
Well, let's finally disagree, I guess. Just for
Let's have one so we can
yeah,
get a claim to being impartial here.
precisely. I mean, like I
We're not
do
being
like the
paid
elves.
off.
I think the elves can like win this on a good day as well. But I would say it's hard to imagine the Berserkers doing anything other than just going on a complete tear on this team.
It's going to be brutal, isn't it? It could
Yeah.
even be brutal for both of them. They could very well be sort of 8 injuries in this game.
Yeah, the season could
Spread
end.
around.
The season could end for both of them. We hope not for Carl Jaeger's sake, but it could happen.
You've got to be thinking about it, haven't you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna say Wood Elves 2-0 or something.
I'm gonna
Just to be
say
spicy.
I'm gonna say 2-1 probably. I can predict something like Glordian goes and kicks to them, and they like score in 2 or 3 turns, and then they just get the snot being out them for like 14. So that's my prediction. 2-1 to the Norse.
I like a bit of disagreement. We'll have to go and see. I'll watch that game. See how it
Definitely.
goes out.
Definitely. And lastly, Alfheim Artists versus the Open Craft Beers. In the last game week, the Open Craft Beers haven't played yet.
They haven't played yet.
They will.
I'm going to, straight out of the gate, I'm going to back off. They've had a rough start. I think this is their game where they're going to turn it around.
And to be honest, I have to agree as well. We're back to normality when I say this isn't like Chaos teams in their second season or third season can struggle against Elf teams, and this team is just full of lodge and sidestep. They'll struggle to get them down. Even the niggles here and there can mean they'll be like kind of left wrong footed to Chaos, I think. Especially
He's
if they
got,
get outmatched.
1 tackle. 2 of his Mighty Blow have not got block or anything.
Yeah.
Be a lot of, it depends a lot on the block dice, but I think if they're pretty run down the middle, I think Alfheim could be confident going into this.
Yeah, I'd say 2-0, but it could be a 2-1.
Yeah, I'll go 2-0.
Okay.
Just to back Elves all the way as a incredibly biased.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, that was the predictions for the game week ahead of us in game week 3. We won't look at the leaderboards or anything yet because it's like football. You don't look at the leaderboards or the, you don't look at the table until about 10 games in.
Absolutely, it's all nonsense so far.
Yeah.
Can't predict what's going to happen.
We'll look at we'll start. I looked last season at the table about game week 6 or 7. Because that's
it's taken some good shape by then.
Yeah, and then you usually find the teams that have gone in their spiral are in the middle of it, so they're probably gone for the count. We'll look at the leaderboards then and bring up the prediction tool that we have available to us. But until then, I think that's all we have time for. I don't think there's anything else I want to mention or say.
No, I think we've covered absolutely everything. No one can have any complaints about what we've done here today.
Yeah, the only one
absolutely
thing,
perfect.
The only thing, we're perfect again. We are the best recappers in the league,
without a doubt.
The only thing I'll mention is, I guess, remember the bounty board exists. So if you want to see something like, I don't know, Chittering Quick Thing dead.
He's going number 1. Maybe that's Strength 5, Norse Lineman.
Or the Strength 1 Skink.
Maybe we should put a bounty up on that guy.
I wouldn't mind being like, you can have 20 pence if you manage to frag that skink.
I will back that as well.
I'll give you a bunch of CSGO trading cards on Steam if you kill the skink.
Are we allowed to do that as recap? Because we're going to do it.
Well, I mean, Dr. Hep, Dr. Hep last division, he did that. He just everyone had 1 or 2 bounties on. I'm gonna do it probably. I'll probably be like, you get 20 pence if you kill the skink.
I love it.
Although hopefully that doesn't mean that the guy's the lizard coach doesn't then just kill his own skink and be like, pay me.
If he fires him, I'll pay you 20p if you fire him.
I'll pay you $100 to fuck off, right? Anyway, it's been great. We'll see you again next week. Best of luck to everyone on the game week ahead. Hopefully you get your Kazes, you get your touchdowns, no death spirals for you. But until then, have a great day.
Good night.